Squid Game Season 2. Despite mixed reviews compared to the first season, the South Korean dystopian Netflix hit has been in the spotlight and breaking records since its release in late December. By exploring the complex essence of human nature, the series has gone beyond entertainment content to become a global cultural phenomenon. So let's talk about Squid Game 2, its success, and the stories behind it with Professor Chie Hye-won at Kyung University's Arts and Cultural Management Program, who is joining us today in the studio. Professor Chie, welcome.
Welcome, Professor.
Hello, good afternoon.
So let's start off with the achievements of the second season of Squid Game so far.
Right, Squid Game Season 2 was released on Netflix on Thursday, December 26, and for the first week of release, it brought 68 million views in only for 4 days, so which is Netflix's biggest TV debut ever. So the season picked up another 58.2 million views in the following week. So that brings it to a total of 126.2 million views total across the first 11 days, more than any Netflix series has ever achieved in that amount of time. Squid Game Season 1 achieved 265 million views, 265.2 million views in its first 91 days of streaming. But as of now, the Season 2 appears likely to outpace it, which is having more than 70 days left to continue accumulating views. So Squid Game 2 topped the chart in 92 countries, including the United States, France, Japan, India, and Australia. It has already reached the 7th position in Netflix's all-time most popular non-English TV shows.
Right, so despite there being some mixed responses, people who watched the first season, I think they just have to watch the second one because everyone is curious about it, whatever people say about the series around them. And speaking of that, the first season had such an impact on viewers that we were talking about a Squid Game syndrome and even post-syndrome. It may have been an unavoidable result, but due to the immense success of the first season, there were some mixed responses regarding the second one, and also from media from overseas. So can you tell us a bit more about those reviews?
Yeah, people waited so long for the second season, so that's one of the reasons, I think. So, despite the success of the viewing, but the second season has received mixed reviews, with the ratings significantly lower than the first season, both domestically and internationally. So many audiences said they had been expecting something more than the first season, but found out nothing really different from the previous season. So some of them are very, very disappointed. But I think it's because the season 1 was the complete story with the 9 episodes. But however, the 7 episodes of the season 2 are connected to the season 3, so which is supposed to be released later this year. So season 2 developed and the characters and stories and left on a huge cliffhangers. So I believe people will find more when it is completed with the season 3.
Right, understandable.
I completely agree. I think that many people were waiting so long for the season 2, and they were really hoping for a great ending, but they were left with a cliffhanger. And instead, they were sort of disappointed without getting like a sort of ending to a story. And now they have to wait just a little longer for season 3 to happen. But let's talk about the success of Squid Game itself, being the season 1 or season 2. How was it able to attract this much popularity, and what makes it different from, let's say, similar productions?
Right. The Squid Game is based on the survival game. So there are any other like TV shows and films we could find telling about the survival games. But I mean, it is a simple and easy to approach to the foreign audiences without any Korean histories or social backgrounds. So also it does not let the participants kill each other. So it's a game operated by the other side. So the participants collaborate or fight each other depending on the situations. So nobody knows what's going to happen in the next stage. So these points make it different from some other TV shows or films of the survival games. Moreover, Squid Game features some classic Korean children game. So in the season 2, we could find 제기차기, 공기놀이, or 팽이치기 or 둥글게 둥글게, the game. And these games are interesting enough to capture international attention. Some audiences already shared the videos of themselves like practicing or playing the games on social medias.
Right, and that's also why I guess everyone is already curious about what kind of traditional games would appear in the third season as well, if it continues the way it did continue in season 2, of course.
Right.
But Professor Chie, Squid Game season 2 has also been getting attention due to its high production fees of around 100 billion won, which is roughly $67.8 million US dollars. And also the cast's high salaries. So what implications does such a high cost structure have on this series?
Right. It is reported that the production budget of the season 2 is 100 billion Korean won, which is 4 times more than the season 1. So there is also a lot of interest in actress ransom. So in the case of main character Lee Jung-jae, it has been rumored that he broke the record of the highest price performance for fee in Korean actors receiving $1 million, about like 1.4 billion Korean won per episode.
Per episode.
Right. So and more than like $13 million by season 3. This is huge. Like this is a lot of salary, but it is just a rumor. So it is not the official information though. So it is known that Squid Game season 1 produced about 25 billion Korean won in production costs, making about 40 times the profit. So kind of considering its expected revenue, the production budget might be understandable, but I think such a high cost structure would be a burden to the producers and to the actors as well on the long-term basis.
Well, let's see what will happen with season 3.
Right.
Maybe they will break another record or not. But Squid Game has demonstrated the endless possibilities of Korean content with the success on Netflix. So having said that, does this bring about some change in how Korean contents are created due to these OTT platforms?
Right. First of all, we already talked. The production cost has been increasing since the Netflix produced the Korean original contents. I remember that was 2017. The Kingdom was the first one. So the many Korean series have been produced and distributed by global OTTs such as Netflix and Disney Plus, and I'm sorry. Brought huge international attention, including Kingdom, Squid Game, The Glory, Hellbound, and Moving. The global OTTs invested much more amount of money in producing than the Korean OTTs or the broadcasting stations. And so the local producers say that the cost of producing drama has risen from an average of 300 to 400 Korean won per episode to 2 billion Korean won raised by Netflix. So that's the kind of negative point of view. On the positive side, though, the quality of contents and production circumstances have been improved since the global OTT arrived. Until a few years ago, many Korean TV dramas were not completed before broadcasting, but more recently, most of them are filmed in advance, and the creative teams spend enough time to finish up the production for the better quality.
So also some good sides that we're seeing.
Right.
Now, I've obviously been spending a lot of time on YouTube, and the cast have been promoting this Squid Game 2 very heavily on talk shows in America, as well as for magazine, YouTube channels as well. So let's talk about some interesting stories that were revealed through the interviews with actors of Squid Game 2.
Right. There are a scene of a group of 5 play the game in turn. So the actors should practice very, very hard to play the Korean classic games, the children games. Especially Lee Jung-jae had to kick Jaegi more than 5 times, but it said he only made 2 in the first place. So he said he practiced it more than 2 months to make it. And in the case of 강하늘, since 공기놀이 is a game more likely played by the girls, so he's not good at it. So someone else played instead of him. So someone else's hands just playing instead of Kang Han-eul's hand. And on the other hand, Lee Byung-eun said he did 팽이차기 too well. So it was rather difficult for him to make mistakes on purpose.
Right, the 팽이 돌리기, right? But I also heard that Kang Han-eul, actor Kang Han-eul, it's not that he did not as much as efforts as the other actors, but he also said that by birth he has his little finger, he has a little difficulties in putting it together to the other fingers. So
that's why he can't do
that. That's why, he had some obstacles, and that why there was a double actor, a double hand for that role as well.
Well, that's quite interesting. And there were some controversial issues, so let's also touch upon some of those controversial issues that gained attention with its release.
There are some issues. Actor Park Sung-hoon posted on an inappropriate photos on the concept of Squid Game on his social media, the personal social media, and was embroiled in controversy. He said he posted it by mistake and immediately deleted it. However, it spread rapidly through online communities and social media, and he ultimately dropped out of the TVN drama, The Tyrant's Chef, which was supposed to be his next project. Also, the season 2 is facing calls for a boycott in Vietnam due to a dialogue referencing the Vietnam Wars, which had sparked this criticism for distorting history. There is a line of Kang Han-eul, who plays Tae-ho, describes his father, who was a Vietnam War veteran, and sent him to the Marines to become a real man, which had angered many Vietnam viewers.
As far as I know, there is a review underway regarding whether there should be regulatory measures or not regarding that series in Vietnam. But let's move on now to our final question, which is about season 3. Now, in the teaser that we saw before, there was the gigantic doll Young-hee, but also a new appearance of Chol-soo, which is Young-hee's boyfriend, which we saw in textbooks in Korea in the past. So I saw the teaser, but we don't know much about the third season. However, what are your expectations, Professor Chie?
Actually, they don't say a lot about it. So it's like the season 2 will come out this summer or fall. So
season 3, you mean? Right.
Season 3, I'm sorry. So I believe it will answer to the questions from the season 2. Since it would be the final season, I think it's the season 3 would wrap up the main character Kyung's storylines and tell us more about the frontman's history. And based on its huge success, we could expect the potential spin-offs coming out with some other characters, including the masked guard or the police officers.
Wow. That would be interesting to see.
It has been rumors, but we don't know yet.
Well, thank you very much for your insights today, Professor Chie.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, Walter. We will see you again tomorrow.
Oh, we'll see you tomorrow.